Greetings, lovers of mysticism and the unknown. Welcome to the Incredible Stories channel. We are explorers of the unexplainable and unbelievable. Today, I will tell you an interesting story. Brew up some goodies and enjoy. Today, you will hear a real and frightening story from the life of a girl named Mili Pitters. 3 years ago, my son got married. I traded my 3-bedroom apartment for 2 one-bedroom apartments. I gave one to my son as a wedding present, and then I moved into the other one on my own. The apartment was on the 8th floor of a 9-story panel building, with European-style renovations and all the furnishings. Although it was inexpensive, I was looking for a catch. I immediately got to know my neighbor Mary, who had lived in the house for almost 30 years, ever since it was built. She was an outgoing woman activist. I had lived in a brick house before, where there was perfect soundproofing. Here I could hear every rustle. I heard everything. The slamming of neighbors' doors, the noise of water, the stomping of neighbors above me, even my neighbor's cough. I could especially hear the neighbors to the side. Every day I could hear the childish laughter of a little boy or a teenage girl. I could even hear their television set running and even unwittingly overhear their conversations. Mostly it was the usual mundane stuff, like planning some shopping, weekend plans, and in the evenings my mother would sing the baby a lullaby. They never quarreled, and I had only good impressions of them. The only thing that surprised me was that I never saw them. Well, I guess we just didn't have the same schedule. The father of the family often went out on the balcony to smoke. My late husband was a smoker, so I got used to the smell of tobacco a long time ago. But the neighbors didn't smell tobacco. One day I was hanging laundry on the balcony, and I heard my neighbor's balcony door open. I decided to finally meet them. "Hello, neighbor," I shouted through the wall between us. "Good evening." My neighbor answered me, only I couldn't see him because the wall was in the way. From that moment on, our friendship from behind the walls began. For example, if I sneezed in my room, one of my neighbors would invariably shout, "Bless you," and I would do the same. Or on December 31, before I went to my son's house to celebrate the new year, I shouted behind the wall, "Happy New Year to you." "You too, Happy New Year," they answered me in chorus. Toward the end of winter, I caught a bad cold. I had a terrible cough that I could not cure. Even the pills my doctor prescribed did not help. The fever did not go away either. It was getting worse every day. And then, after another coughing fit, I heard my neighbor. She gave me the name of a remedy, which I had to buy at the drugstore. She promised me that this mixture would definitely help me, and stressed that she is a general practitioner. I immediately called my son and asked him to buy me this medicine. And indeed, this drug put me on my feet in a couple of days. Then I thanked my neighbor through the wall. In spring, there was a sabbatnik among the residents of our house. I took part in it too. I liked the residents of our house, very friendly and nice people. There were a lot of people. Many came even with children. I kept looking at all the families, trying to guess which one of them was my neighbor, because it was a great opportunity to finally meet them in person. Then Mary came up to me. I asked her, "You know all the residents. Are there any of my neighbors over there? Has anyone moved in there? That apartment's been empty for so long." "What do you mean it's been empty? I was already living there when I moved in. A very nice family of 4. Mary looked at me like I was crazy. "That can't be. You must be confused about something. I hear them every day. They have a little boy, a teenage girl. Mom works as a therapist." I replied. Here my neighbor turned white. Her legs began to buckle. I picked her up by the elbow and sat her down on the bench. "That's right, we had a family like that," Mary said, coming to her senses a little. "Well, you were saying." I smiled. "Except there's no way you could have heard them. They've been dead for 4 years," the neighbor whispered. Now I turned pale. "You must be talking about some other family. There, see my balcony? And the one to my left is those neighbors." I pointed to Mary. "That's what I'm talking about. This apartment has been empty for 4 years. No one wants to live where a family of 4 was murdered." "Murdered how?" I groaned. "Like this. The head of the family, James, worked for an organization that handled transportation. And one day one of their employees got drunk, the shipments broke down, and the company ran into a lot of money. After that, James fired the guy. He begged for his job back, saying he had just come back from prison and couldn't find work for a long time. He even threatened to go down the wrong road again, but James wouldn't even listen to him. And the man took offense, tracked him to where he lived, caught him in the entryway, and strangled him to death. James didn't even have time to make a sound. But the criminal didn't stop there. He took the keys out of James's pocket, opened the door to the apartment, and slaughtered the whole family, even the children. Then he dragged James' corpse into the apartment, took the money with him, and fled. So their whole family lay there for a few days, and the previous tenant from that apartment, he lost all peace. He said he was having hallucinations. He could hear them talking. And to keep the roof up, he decided to sell the apartment. I was heartbroken, and I had to forget about the Subotnik. I returned home and listened for a long time to the sounds behind the wall, but it was quiet. I took a sedative and tried to sleep. I couldn't have been imagining things. And then through my sleep, I heard a lullaby. What did you think of it? Write in the comments. Be sure to get likes, subscribe to our channel, and check out other amazing stories.